Thank you for joining me here today at Thumbs Up Gardening. Here is a short tour of the little bitty garden. I had planned to expand it, but I don't know. It's still going to be a little larger than it is because every year you should grow more than you grew the year before. But I'm watching and waiting to see how much of last year's stuff is actually going to come back and, as they used to say, bear fruit. Those are the strawberries. This is their third year and they're bearing fruit. So I don't want to, take those out. So I'm kind of calculating what I'm going to do because I'll have to add containers because I can't empty my old ones because a lot of them are coming back and they're coming back strong this year. I think you'll be able to see some of those strawberries, how large they are over in that little container. See those great big old berries in there? And there are a lot of them. They're just popping up everywhere. We've already picked some of the red ones, and these are the ones coming right behind those. But yeah, we've got a lot of containers that went through this really, really cold winter. And they're coming back. Right there is the sage, and she is really flowering and really pretty. And in there, we've been picking asparagus out of that pot right there. And it's done more this year than it's done in any previous year. But it might help because this might be its third or fourth year to third year. I think it's the fourth summer for those. And then we've got the little seedlings, the tomatoes and peppers in there, which I'll have to thin out and put them in their own containers. At some point, little pepper right there and tomatoes over there. They came from the winter jug garden, and I stuck them over there once they were big enough. And there's the kale from last year, and then there's the lettuce from the winter jug, and that right there is more romaine lettuce from the winter jug container because I really did overdo it with the lettuce. And probably the kale also, because I lost a little kale and I lost a little lettuce because I just had put it everywhere, even inside in the hydroponic containers. It's the same lettuce, but I just ran out of places to put it, and people just didn't want it when I was trying to give it away. So I got as much out here as I could get out here, and I'm going to get another tarp because I don't want to mow between the containers because it puts holes inside of them. I lost a few containers. So I am going to get another tarp, and I'm going to come over and add more plants. I got my little young people out here with me today. We have little red cups over in that bucket if you can see them. We are about to put out the next succession of romaine lettuce. And my, I guess, point for today, this video, is doing things that you really like to do. And my little young fellows like gardening. They're interested. They like doing it. So I come out and I sit for a while and I let them basically play in the dirt. Today we're going to take these romaine lettuce and we're going to put them in the containers. And I would have left the chatter because they were chattering amongst themselves, laughing, joking, having a good time. But I decided I wanted to talk about having a good time instead. And the reason that I feel like it's a topic that we're not discussing enough is because if you turn the TV on, it's another story about how expensive it is to buy a house, how high the interest rate is, how that high interest rate is going to affect you, how high the food prices are, how difficult it's going to be to eat. There's no food. There's a food shortage. This store's closing. That store is closing. It's a lot to bear and to keep any sense of happy or contentment or normalcy. How do you stay upbeat? And I'm not saying you're going to run around and scream and have parties and, the sky is falling. I just mean you can't live in doom and gloom. You can recognize the situation. Things are more expensive, so you simply tighten your belt. You don't run around and freak out and what am I going to do? What am I going to do? You actually sit down, you plan, and then you do something, whatever your plan is after you sit down and you plan. And you can't spend every waking moment planning for doom and gloom and starvation and whatever else you think is going to happen when you watch the news and other channels constantly telling you, warning, warning, beware, beware. You got to wake up in the morning and look at the sun, look at the sky, look out in your yard at the grass and the birds and all the insects that are still surviving, and then go out, walk around. If you got a garden, go look at your garden, work on your garden a little bit. But for every person, I guarantee every person has one thing that makes them feel content or happy or at ease. And you got to work on knowing what your one thing is. I mean, I can come out here in the morning, it's dew on the leaves in the garden. That's absolutely wonderful. It's absolutely great to come out and see those little drops of water sitting on that green leaf. And that leaf wasn't there until you put a seed in the ground and the leaf came up, the plant broke from the dirt, and that leaf came out, and now there's dewdrops sitting on it. You put your hand, you put that effort out, and it happens. And it makes you happy. For some people, it's vacuuming. They turn that vacuum on, and that floor that's all covered with whatever it's covered with, after you vacuum, it's perfect. There's not a thing down there that shouldn't be. And for other people, it's cooking. There's an empty pan. There is nothing in that pan until you whiz around that kitchen, and my goodness, there's a great meal sitting in that pan that you can't wait to eat. Those things actually make you happy. So you have to find your happy place. I'm not telling you to ignore the warnings about bank runs and money shortages and stores closing and good food, bad food, food, and everything else going on. What I am saying is you can't just dwell on those points only, because it's a lot of mental health issues right now. People are like having a hard time. It's a lot of commercials about the state of people's mental health. And you think about it every day. All you hear is doom and gloom, and you can't find your happy place. You got to do it, people. You got to weigh it out. Thank you guys for listening. See you next time.